Welcome to this lesson on centrifugal force, one of the most misunderstood concepts in circular motion. Centrifugal force is often described as the fictional outward force, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why it's called fictional and what that really means. So what exactly is centrifugal force? Centrifugal force is the apparent outward force that you experience when you're moving in a rotating reference frame. Notice the key word here, apparent. This force seems real when you experience it, but it only appears when you're observing motion from a rotating perspective. It's not a force that exists in all situations, which makes it fundamentally different from other forces you've learned about. To understand centrifugal force, we need to distinguish between two types of forces. A real force has a physical source and exists in all reference frames. For example, gravity, friction, and tension are real forces. On the other hand, a fictitious force has no physical source and only appears in non-inertial frames. Centrifugal force falls into this second category. It's called fictitious because it doesn't arise from any actual physical interaction between objects. But why exactly is centrifugal force called fictitious? The answer lies in understanding that centrifugal force is a pseudo force. It arises from the acceleration of the reference frame itself, not from any actual physical interaction between objects. When your frame of reference is rotating or accelerating, you perceive forces that aren't actually there in an absolute sense. The force you feel is a result of your own acceleration, not an external push or pull. Let's look at a classic example, the merry-go-round. When you're riding a spinning merry-go-round, you feel pushed outward, away from the center. This outward sensation is what we call centrifugal force. However, if someone is watching you from outside, standing on the ground, they see something completely different. They observe you moving in a circle because there's a centripetal force pulling you inward toward the center. The outward push you feel doesn't exist for the outside observer. This difference in perception comes down to reference frames. In an inertial frame, which is a non-accelerating frame of reference like someone standing still on the ground, the observer sees only the centripetal force pulling inward toward the center. This is the real force keeping you in circular motion. In a rotating frame, like when you're the rider on the merry-go-round, you feel the centrifugal force pushing you outward. These two perspectives show the same physical situation, but the forces you perceive are different depending on your frame of reference. Mathematically, centrifugal force can be expressed as F sub Cf equals m omega squared r, where F sub Cf is the centrifugal force, m is the mass of the object, omega is the angular velocity, and r is the radius of the circular path. This formula shows that centrifugal force depends on three things: the mass of the object, how fast it's rotating, and how far it is from the center of rotation. The faster the rotation, or the farther from the center, the stronger the apparent outward force becomes. Here's the key takeaway. Centrifugal force is a perceived effect, not a real force. It only exists when you observe motion from a rotating reference frame, and it completely vanishes when you view the same situation from an inertial frame. Understanding this distinction is crucial for properly analyzing circular motion and is fundamental to mastering rotational dynamics in physics.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.